Thank you, friends, for joining us once again for E2's Effective Elders podcast. This is called Connect Elder to Elder, and today we're going to explore safety and security in the local church.
Hey everyone, welcome to the E2 Effective Elders podcast. Visit us at e2elders.org and please share this good word with others.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us at Connect Elder to Elders in Conversation. And we always want to say thank you to CDF Capital for making this podcast possible. Their partnership in equipping elders across the country and around the world is deeply appreciated. Thanks to CDF. Hey, today I get to introduce to you a friend and a brother of mine, Scott McKinney. Hey, Scott, how are you today?
Very well, Gary. Thanks for having me.
Yep, you betcha. And for the benefit of everybody who's watching and or listening, Scott is a police officer. He's retired, and he leads the safety and security ministry at Indian Creek Christian Church, the Creek, here in Indianapolis, where Leah and I happen to make our home. And Scott, tell us a little bit about your career path in law enforcement.
Oh, yes, Gary. Like you said, I'm a retired police officer, been in police officer for about 20 years or plus. Dedicated most of my career working in schools, in training, also now I work in the church with safety and security. But for most of my career, I've been in the schools.
Great. And so to help our elders who are listening, we want to remember that our podcast in 2021 is devoted to the 6 challenges facing elders, ELDERS. And that letter L is for leadership. There are many leadership challenges that elders must deal with, one of which is the safety of people within their church. When we teach elder governance, elders have 5 responsibilities, all rooted in the book of Acts, not 15, not 25, but 5. One of which is protecting the flock. In Acts 20, Paul said to the elders of Ephesus, be shepherds of God's flock that's under your care. And he makes mention that shortly after he leaves, savage wolves will come in to destroy the flock. So the caring of a group of people, believers, is very much under the mantle of responsibility of elders. So, Scott, you're going to help us today understand the importance of a safety security ministry in the local church. And what I want to ask you to do, first of all, can you tell us why elders should make this a matter of concern?
Yes, sir, Gary. I would say, number one, the Bible says that Jesus was the chief shepherd. He brings up in Ezekiel about being a watchman, or like a shepherd watches the flock. So they talked about being a watchman over the flock, over his church. That's a big, huge thing out of the Bible.
So there are pictures, metaphors in the Bible of how we as elders, as shepherds, need to protect the sheep. Even the 23rd Psalm, I think of your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So we would agree that a safety security ministry is pretty biblical.
It is, Gary. And there's a lot of stuff out there that I've done homework on. For instance, Lieutenant Colonel Grossman, he's Christian. He has brought up the Shepherd's Watch and talks about different stuff as a Christian, what you should be doing. There's multiple churches out there that talk about how to protect the flock and why we should be doing this. You look at some of the shootings that have occurred in the last 5 years. Church shootings are up more than school shootings right now. So that's one of the reasons why we do what we do, to try to be vigilant.
What's you just made mention of the Shepherd's Watch. What is that? Is it a
Um,
publication? Is it a
it's a
blog?
publication on online. He also does some books. He does some um, conferences, but
Mhm.
they go on there and show how to start a security team. It's kind of helped me as we have done our own safety and security team to do policies and procedures. Um, what a
And
security we're supposed to be like. Yes,
what's this gentleman's name again? Could you say that, please?
Lieutenant Colonel Grossman. That's
Uh-huh.
Grossman.
Uh-huh. So if somebody Google Lieutenant Colonel Grossman Shepherd's Watch, they would be able
Yes,
to find his website.
correct. And he's got a book out. I happen to have it right here. It's called On Combat.
Hmm.
You can see it or not, but it's a really good read, and it talks about some of that stuff too. And I have a lot of other resources too. If say elders wanted to check them out or something like that, I have those here at the
Yeah.
church.
Well, we'll put your e-address up at the end of our conversation. So, the why, elders need to understand that protecting the sheep, literally, the flock, the people of God, the family of God, is a very biblical mandate. So, tell us then, let's go from why. We're going to start with why. Let's go to how.
Okay.
Let's say there's a church without a security safety ministry. What might be their first few steps that they take to pursue this?
Well, I would say training. Have
Mhm.
a training. But what? Let me jump back. Okay. To start, you might look at an assessment. So you
Mhm.
assess the church um, security findings that you have in the church, whether it be lights, doors, um, parking lot. Um, I follow a thing called CEPTED. It's crime prevention through environmental design. And
Mhm.
I got certified in that. It kind of looks at the wholeness of a building. And it pretty much says if you have a room that has no natural light in it
Mhm.
and you have 25 students in it, their behavior is going to be 75% worse than if you have a room that has natural lighting, maybe
Mhm.
some not trees, but a
Mhm.
flower plants.
Mhm.
Their schools mask up on the wall. Um, so we look at that. We also look at the lighting in the parking lot. We look at the security cameras. We look at just different aspects of the building assessment. So you would start A as an assessment.
Mhm.
B, you want to get
Building.
the building, like I said, the building assessment, all that stuff. You also want to look at who you want to have on the team. So
Mhm.
team members and
So
maybe lead,
building a team, building up a team. Mhm.
build your team, train your team, um, look who you're going to have on the team. Can't just go from the pulpit and say, "Hey, I want some security officers," or "Who in here are cops and
Huh.
come join our team," because you're going to get everybody coming.
Mhm.
Hey, I want to wear a gun and be in a uniform or something like that.
Mhm.
You want to know pretty much. I stand back and I watch the congregation, like in talking, walking. Maybe they're in a different um, ministry. I might go to them and say, "Hey, let's have a conversation. Have you ever thought about serving the church in this manner?" And
Mhm.
then we get to talk about. I have a list of questions about where they are spiritually, um, their background, and
Mhm.
what they think about, you know, um, serving in that capacity for the church. You can't just have anybody. And
Mhm.
then you want to coach. I mean, once you have your team together, um, you want to coach people up.
Mhm. Well, you just did something alphabetically, buddy. If you don't have a team, it's the preacher in me. If you don't have a team, you do a building assessment, campus assessment with regard to your security needs. B, you build a team. And C, you get a coach who's going to accept responsibility for leading this team. And I would assume that when you are talking about building a team, you got to carefully vet select these individuals? I would assume some background checks would be very important and whatnot.
When I find somebody or somebody else from Rooted here at the church, they go through this Rooted program, and I've reached out to them to say, hey, these people want to get more involved and serve in the church. Throw me some names that you think, and you have to have a trusted source that, and I have a few here that hold me accountable, and I'm good friends with them outside of church. Kind of throw me some people's names. So we vet them through a background check through the church. But then I have an application process too. That is the Security and Safety Act process. So it goes through different things on the list, and I have that resource available. After we do that, they go through what we call in law enforcement FTO, field training. So they work with two of the guys on the team I trust, and kind of give them some responsibility of showing them the ropes. Taking them throughout the church, what we do. And there's a lot of responsibility to the church that we have different things every Sunday morning that we do. We don't just stand against the wall and act like security guards. So, but it is a vetting process, and if they have to be background checked and we have on their tags up here on the walls, has a CS on it for child safe. If they don't pass the child safe background and can't get the CS on their tag, then they can't serve on the team. That just means that they're not supposed to be in the kids area and stuff like that. So,
okay. So if a church does not have a safety security ministry, A, make an assessment of the building, B, build the team, C, select a coach, a leader of the team. Let's say that the church does already have a security team. What might be a couple of steps that they take to further make effective their security ministry?
I would go along with the training too. We talked about having training, that wherever your training is, every month, like the first Saturday in every month, we go from like 9 o'clock in the morning till noon, and we go through. I have mandates in law enforcement. We have mandates that we have to do 24 hours of training a year. Here at the Creek, I put them through certain classes that they have to stay on the team. One is de-escalation, dealing with the public, and doing it in a godly manner, not just, hey, I'm security here and I told you to do something. Getting to the why and what's going on with them, and then talking to them in a manner to calm them down. So if I'm talking like this, it's going to bring somebody down. If you whisper and bring them down, they're going to come down to your level. If you're yelling at them, you're going to escalate the situation. Then we also talk about active shooter, stop the bleed. We have a medic that comes in and teaches stop the bleed. That's pretty much it. There was unforeseen that happened here. Somebody got shot or got stabbed or something like that. Then stop the bleed. Actually, the team members here carry tourniquets on their waistband. They're covered, but so they can pull that tourniquet and put it on themselves, stop the bleed, and then get back into the fight. So
if
go ahead.
If there were an unfortunate circumstance with an active shooter or an assailant on a church campus, your security team has some first aid training as well.
They go with first aid, AED, and stop the bleed. So, and then we have a medical team that is part of the security team as well.
Okay.
So that's why it's safety and security. They're part of that team.
So training, and when you said, some police forces, jurisdictions have 24-hour mandates of additional training. What you just said, when you said 9 to noon, the first Saturday of every month, So 12 months times 3, that's 36 hours of mandated continuing training that you have for your volunteer team. And I would assume all of the people on your security detail are volunteers. Would that be correct?
That is correct, sir. They're volunteers, but they know that they're there to serve. This is a ministry. It's not just about serving.
Mhm.
They're here volunteer. So the stuff that they get mandated, one of those is firearms training.
Mhm.
And if they don't qualify annually, they don't carry. And we don't
Mhm.
just go out and qualify. We actually go out to, one of the guys has a farm, and we go out there and we do devotions, we pray, we fellowship. He
Mhm.
cooks some awesome ribs and a smoker, and then he has his own range. So then
Mhm.
we do it at least 4 times a year. We go out there, but
Mhm.
they have to on their own be
Mhm.
proficient to actually, if it's unforeseen, they have to take out the firearm in the church and stop the threat. They are, without a shadow of a doubt, going to hit their target, and it won't go anywhere else. So
Mhm.
that is where I train to say, hey, if you're going to carry this, I want you to be proficient and professional.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. So why should we have a security safety ministry? Because it is a biblical requirement, an expectation that we keep people safe. How are we going to get that done? A, assess, B, build the team, C, coach, and then that coach continues to train, develop the team. Let's talk about one last thing before we run out of time, and that is what do you think is one of the most important things about an effective safety security team?
I would say, Gary, having somebody on the team that's Christ-like minded. And what I mean by that, I would rather have like a core group of guys, girls, on the team um, that are trainable. Their heart is for others. Um, they're Christian.
Mhm.
I want somebody that has given their life to Christ to be on the team, because I don't believe that they can protect others without having that heart for Christ. Um, and I'd rather have a core group than to have 20 people in this big team that want to come in here and just play weekend warrior or think they're big bad GI Joe. That's not what this is all about. It's a
Mhm.
ministry. It's about we do other things than just serve. So we
Mhm.
come in every Sunday morning. We come in here to our office. Guys come in here 30 to 45 minutes early. They get ready. We wear uniforms like the one I got on here. It says the Creek on it. It says security on the back for security. The medical team has red ones so
Mhm.
that we're identifiable.
Mhm.
Um, and so people can approach us if they have an issue.
Mhm.
It's not a uniform. I'm the security officer.
Mhm.
I don't want that at all, but it is. So if something does happen, the first responders will know that we're actually there to help.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
the roll call, they get their uniform on, they put their earwigs in and the
Mhm.
radios, and then we have devotions.
Mhm.
We call it roll call. And so we go around the room and I ask them, is there anything good for the group? And then we have prayer requests. Sometimes I have elder or a pastor come
Mhm.
in, and I know you, Gary, you've come in before as well, um, and pray with the group. And our team loves that when the pastoral staff actually comes in and prays with us. So we use it as a devotion. We pray about things, and then I read from this book right here. I don't know if you see the title on it, but
Yep.
it's
Behind the badge. Mhm.
Behind the Badge. It's 365 daily devotions for law enforcement or security or like-minded
Mhm.
people, and we just go through that and talk about those things. I
Mhm.
know last Sunday we left this room here and went up to the hallway of the church and had our prayer up there so
Mm.
that others can see that
Mhm.
that's this type of team that we are. That
Mhm.
we want to put
Awesome.
first,
Mhm.
not just us. And I'm very huge about that. If I think I have team
Mhm.
members that are different and want to be about them, then we go a different direction.
Mhm. Yeah, praise be to God. So one of the most important what's is the interior world of the men and women who are volunteering on the safety and security team. What is behind that badge? An interior world where Jesus is truly Lord of Lords. Good, great. Well, tell you what, Scott, what is an email address where people can fire off a question or two to you? It might be that wherever they are in whatever state, whatever city, they're looking for some practical counsel and advice. What's your email address?
Okay, it's S as in Sam, T McKinney, McKinney, 01 at gmail.com.
Simple. S.T. McKinney, McKinney 01 at Gmail. Okay, very good. And I know that you have encouraged many. I remember getting a phone call from somebody. They were coming in from Montana, visiting here in Indianapolis, did not have a security team back at their church in Montana. And I know that you spent the better part of a day with that gentleman, just helping him think through some very important issues. So I want to thank you for your heart to help other people. I guess most police officers do have that in their interior DNA, a desire to help, right?
I do, sir. Yes.
Absolutely.
That's why I got into the business in the first place. So, and I want to thank
we're very
grateful to come on here as well. So,
yeah, no, it's really important. And we so appreciate the friendship that we have with you and the McKinney family and the many men and women who are a part of this very important ministry of security and safety in the church. Thank you very much, Scott.
God bless.
God bless. Bye-bye.